Hi everyone, and welcome to the Libra November 2021 Spiritual Connection reading. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot and Meaning-Based Spiritual Coaching Services. I am Lauren. Hi and welcome. So this reading is meant to help illuminate any blocks that might be coming up this month between you, your unique internal authentic self, and how you're connecting that to your external environment to be able to fully live into your spiritual purpose and potential. So I'm going to start here by pulling a card for your energy. We're going to see what you're sitting with for the month of November. All right, we have Page of Pentacles. So the Page of Pentacles is a fun energy to a certain extent. It's an energy that speaks to going out into the world and playing with it, playing with the tangible, the physical, the what is, but from what I'd like to look at as a beginner's mindset. It's having something, so if you can see this card, I know these cards are itty bitty, but it's my favorite Rider-Waite tarot deck. It's a young man in this image holding a pentacle, and a pentacle represents something, a gift from the universe, a gift from the divine in the physical that is meant to be nurtured and played with and experienced to basically be able to see what it becomes. So it's almost like when you think about Jack and the Beanstalk and you think about Jack getting this magic seed and he plants it, and what comes out? Well, a magic beanstalk that takes him to another place. It's almost like that. When we're given this pentacle from the divine, we're not quite sure what is meant to come from that seed, that gift. And so we have to go out and work with it and play with it to figure out where that gift fits and why we were gifted with it. So I really feel like at this point, Libra, you guys are sitting with a gift, and you're in this almost, I'd say learning, but it is more of a beginner's mindset phase of how to work with it. It's like a child being given a new toy and they're just learning how it works. And there's almost this excitement that I feel around that, Libra. So it's very interesting. I do feel this energy is very positive for you right now. So I'm going to go ahead now and pull a card to see what Spirit would like to see you connect this energy with in your external environment. Let's see here. So what I like to describe this part, this energy that represents you, this is more of where we tap into our free will, where we tap into what we have to bring to the external. And here on the other side is what I like to call the seat of destiny. And the seat of destiny is really what's kind of beyond our control, because it's what comes in from the outside into our experience. And so we get a chance through free will to be able to, through our actions, either choose to interact with this potential destiny on the exterior and the external, or we can choose not to. And how I look at that is when we choose not to interact, often that's where we experience the blocks. So that's what we're going to be looking at here in just a moment. So the two energies that come up for you, Libra, in the external environment are the Fool and the Magician. Two very powerful cards, especially when they are showing up together like this. This is the energy of two things. It's an energy of a reset in your life cycle. So the Fool is the start of the tarot. Now, technically, the Magician is number one. It is the start of the tarot, but the Fool is 0. So the Fool is that new cycle beginning. It is us going out on a new journey. And as you can see here in this image, it's an individual who's carrying a very light load. They have all that they need to carry with them on this stick, and they're about to walk off the edge of this cliff. But they're not worried about that. They're looking up with excitement towards basically what is and what can be. There's this element actually of the energies being very similar to the Fool and the Page of Pentacles. The Page of Pentacles is wanting to know more about something, wanting to experience and explore something in the physical world. And the Fool is similar to that, but on a much higher level. Combined with the Magician. Now the Magician is where we realize that we have the ability, the power in our own lives to utilize every aspect of our experience to manifest what we would like to experience. It's almost like in a video game when you discover that you have an extra special tool or talent that's hidden somewhere. And that's what the Magician is realizing all of those things that are at your disposal to use. So coupled together, this is showing me that Spirit is telling you, you're ready. You have everything that you need to make a fresh start, to start this next journey. And you have quite a bit at your disposal, but you are sitting in this energy of the beginner, of not quite understanding or knowing fully what to do with this new beginning, with this seed. And we're going to see here what the block is between you moving basically from almost this beginner's mindset to more of a, okay, I can take this, I know what to do with this, and I know how to integrate this into a new cycle, into a new version of myself by utilizing all of the other things that are at my disposal. So let's take a look here. And actually, sorry guys, I'm going to reach across here. Realize my deck was left on the other side of the table. All right, so now I'm going to start pulling cards for what I like to call the void. And the void is what we create when we move from childhood into adulthood and we encounter negative reactions or responses when we attempt to bring out our internal, unique, authentic selves and engage those with our external environment. And so what ends up happening is we put up these barriers that want to prevent us from ever having to feel that fear or the sense of failure or the sense of ridicule that we may have experienced at that time when we engaged a unique part of ourselves with the world, basically. And here we're going to see what that block is and see why Spirit is bringing your attention to this block, because you're meant to, what I'm feeling is take this seed, take this gift and bring it out into the world, but not as a novice, not with a beginner's mindset, instead with the confidence that comes from knowing you're the magician. You get to create the magic in your own life. Okay, so let's take a look here. So Libra, what came out is the Six of Pentacles, the Star, Justice, Eight of Wands, and Ten of Cups. This is a very, very powerful spread. So the Six of Pentacles is a card that speaks to balance. It speaks to the give and take that we can experience in life. And Libra, I do feel on a certain level, this harnesses your energy, even though technically it harnesses the energy of Taurus. But when we're thinking about balance, that is a big theme with you, Libra. You are the sign of the scales and of actually justice, which shows up right here in the middle of your reading. But the Six of Pentacles is almost like the minor, lower version of justice. It's where we start to understand that we will receive what we put in. if that makes sense. And that at any given point in time, we may be on either side of the scale. We may be in a position to give to others, and we may be in a position to receive at other times. But there is a point that this is almost like equilibrium, that you realize you are getting things back into balance. Now, where this can become a block is instead of it being a nice realization that there's always balance to the universe, and that even though at some point you may feel like you're on the receiving end of the material, meaning that you don't have enough and you have to get from others, receive from others, or sometimes you're on the other side where you feel like all you're doing is giving because you're in a position to give, that this can become a block when we feel like this is all we can have. If I just hit equilibrium, if I just get just enough from my romantic partner, or if I get just enough emotional fulfillment from my job, or if I get just enough, and it's one of those things where it can become a place of complacency, where we are almost clinging to the balance, clinging to, okay, everything's good, status quo. And I know not everybody will read this card that way, but oftentimes, especially when it comes up in the challenge position, that's how it is represented to me, that we've gotten to this place of balance and stability, and we're too afraid to rock the boat. Because what comes right after that is the Star. And the Star is, I feel, one of the most powerful cards in the major arcana in the tarot, and that the Star represents our guiding light, and not our in the collective sense. It's each one of us has our own, what I would consider North Star, guiding star. There is something to each one of us that is our greatest hope, dream, desire, something that keeps us on course as we move towards it. And where this can become a big block is when we stop moving towards our star because we feel like, well, I have enough. How much more I should be grateful for what I have. I don't have to ask for more. And maybe what I'm looking for is reaching. It's too much. And I should just be grateful for what I have because everything's good, and I don't need to go for the Star. Now, the other side to that is that you can be going too much for your star, for what you want, and you've maybe perhaps put somebody else's thoughts or dreams or desires to the wayside. Now, this could be in a romantic partnership. This could even be at work, where you are not working as a team with somebody else and instead trying to get over them to move up the ladder. But what I'm feeling here with the Six of Pentacles, the Star in the middle, and Justice in the middle, Justice coming up in the heart of your reading here, is that you are at the place of, I don't want to rock the boat, to follow my heart, to follow what deep inside of myself I would love to realize. And what Spirit is asking you here with Justice coming up at the heart of your reading is to embody the highest version of your own energy. Now, Justice is just that. It's showing that there is a divine order and balance and justice to the universe. And we may not always be able to see that depending on our perspective. We may at certain points in our life feel that justice is maybe not served to what we would feel justice is. But ultimately, justice is blind, meaning that it doesn't take into account the perspectives of man or society, or universal justice is blind to all of those external factors that change over time. So what does that mean? I know that seems very esoteric. That means that in the highest sense of the justice meaning, the justice, sorry guys, I'm having a little, gotta use my words. I can see it, I just can't speak it. So in the highest sense of justice, there is this quality of understanding that your star is meant to be followed, because everything that must be sacrificed to achieve and to follow that star ultimately will be balanced out, because the universe has planted that seed within you as part of your divine purpose, your divine mission. Now, what will happen when you moving away from the lower version of your own energy into the higher version of your own energy, where it's not about I just have enough and everything's okay. It's, no, I should almost shoot for the stars, so to speak, and the rest will come into balance. Because on the other side of this, oh boy, is there some amazing stuff. We have the Eight of Wands and the Ten of Cups. This is fast movement towards your heart's desire. The Ten of Cups is about, when we think about what our vision of heaven on earth would feel like, not look like, and not when we're thinking about it, bringing it down into what it would feel like for us. What would it feel like every day to wake up in the ultimate vision of what your life could be? And that's where, when you start to move towards your star and you step into that highest version of yourself, where you make decisions based on your highest good and the potential that lies within your seed, your gift, that's when things start to get moving. And that's when there's quick movement towards this beautiful realization of your heart's ultimate fulfillment. Now, the Eight of Wands can represent quick communication. It can represent quick movement. I see this as movement towards your ultimate place of fulfillment, but this could also be where there's communication regarding that. But it won't happen unless you admit to yourself what you truly want and start to move in a balanced way towards that, but in a way where you trust and have faith in the divine, that ultimately what you may have to sacrifice here and now in disrupting what you consider the equilibrium or the balance and following something deep within you, the gift, that ultimately what you may have to give up or disturb will be rebalanced in you following this. And not only will it be rebalanced, it'll be rebalanced in a way that very quickly propels you towards something very amazing. All right, so I'm gonna now pull 3 cards down here for what I like to call the Triad of Engagement, where we will work with the 3 core principles of curiosity, courage, and contemplation to make this reading more of a individualized message for yourself. Since this is a very general reading and this can mean a very different thing to very different people, we're going to engage the Triad of Engagement so that you can ask yourself questions throughout the month that will bring awareness to where you might be perhaps just keeping the status quo, what might be coming up inside you that you're too afraid to follow because of upsetting that status quo, thinking maybe you're not even worth it. That, well, this is all I'm worth from the world, from the universe giving back to me. This is all I'm worth as far as the pay that I receive for my job. This is all that this is, when you think about pay and time and energy and what you put into that, sometimes we get to this place, and just this message coming in, sometimes we get to this place with this card when it comes up when somebody's, let's say, focusing on a career centered reading. This can look like, well, if I put 60 hours of work a week into something, my current place of work sees that that's only worth, $80,000 a year. Even though I feel like that might be worth more someplace else, I'm too afraid to leave, so I'm going to just think that, okay, 60 hours of my time, which is a lot when you think about that, is only worth this much. And when you start to limit yourself in that way, that's just one place of business. You can start to look elsewhere. But what will help open you up to a better way to realize your own worth and how that translates into your spiritual purpose and potential is to get back in touch with your guiding star. What ultimately inside you does the divine want you to connect this gift that you're currently sitting with how it connects to what you ultimately would love to experience in your current experience, your life experience. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and pull a card for curiosity. Sorry guys, I had to step away for a minute. I actually put on a different sweater. So what I was saying is that we're going to engage with the Triad of Engagement down here. And I'm going to pull a card here for the principle of curiosity. So with curiosity, we are looking to tap into that sense of opening ourselves back up to the awe and wonder and mystery and magic of life. We're cultivating that feeling of when we were children, the excitement around discovering things new around us and within us. And what we're going to do is, as I pull a card here, we're going to build a question around the energies of the card that you can yourself ask yourself, and in answering it, make this message individualized for you. So, when I'm really thinking about the energy that's coming through here, with the Ten of Cups, so with this reading, the first card is your challenge card. The middle card here is the heart of your reading. It's what Spirit is asking you to embrace, to get over the challenge, to then move into what comes on the other side. Now, the Ten of Cups in addition to that, coming up to this point where this is almost like your last challenge on this side. It's embracing this quality to be able to step in fully to engagement with this energy in your external environment. So really what Spirit is asking you to do is engage and embrace the Ten of Cups feeling, that ultimate fulfillment, the ultimate feeling of fulfillment on a heart-centered but also soul-centered level. And why is that a challenge? You think, well, how hard can it be to embrace my idea of what heaven on earth would feel like? Because once you fully embrace that and you feel it, it's almost like you can't deny yourself that. And so to be able to fully embrace it means having possibly to start something new, to realize for yourself that this is possible for you and that you have the power to create it for yourself. And that's almost this level of higher responsibility to living the highest version of yourself into life, to manifesting it. And the reason why that's important in general for each one of us, whether you're a Libra or not, is as we manifest, basically live our highest version of our unique, singular, authentic selves into our external environment, we get a chance to understand why each one of us has our own version of what heaven on earth would look like. Meaning, we each have a place and a puzzle. We each have a place and a puzzle piece to fill. And in us realizing what would fulfill us individually on an ultimate level is us ultimately finding and experiencing where our puzzle piece fits into the greater collective experience. No two people, as I often say in my readings, have the same idea of what heaven would be for them. No two people have the same needs. Every single person is a unique being. And that is why we each have these unique hopes and wishes and dreams. Because in us following them, in us embracing them, that's what allows us to work our magic into life. And in so doing, we really weave that beautiful tapestry that becomes the highest, I would say, picture of what humanity can achieve. All right, so the card for curiosity is Door to Personal Healing and Happiness, with the number 34 breaking down to number 7. Beautiful card in perfect alignment with the 10 of Cups. So door to personal healing and happiness. What would healing and happiness, ultimate happiness? So imagine here with this card that you're standing in front of a pair of set of doors. And when you open those doors, everything that you've ever wanted, the one image of your perfect heaven-like experience on earth is waiting for you. What would that look like? And I'd like you really to think about that, to open yourself up with curiosity to what would be behind those doors for you. And this is very important because we can sometimes think we know what we would want on the other side of those doors because we've said it so many times as we've gotten older. We've been working towards it. We've told everybody we know that this is our idea of a perfect experience. But what we don't realize is that sometimes as we grow especially from childhood to adulthood, but also in our adult years, we go through periods that change. We go through cycles. And sometimes what we thought we wanted at one point in our lives changes. And our idea of heaven or a sense of ultimate fulfillment or a sense of what would actually bring us happiness now changes. And that's why we're utilizing the principle of curiosity to start to unlock and engage us. So unlock us to engage us with ourselves. So that's what I'd like you to focus on for the month of November is, and especially if you have a meditative practice, meaning you have that dedicated 30 minutes or an hour, and it could just be that 30 minutes or 1 hour a week, doesn't have to be daily, where you just clear your mind and imagine that door in front of you, and you imagine opening it and walking through it and feeling into what that ultimate sense of, if I open the door to a perfect vision of my life, what would that look like? But more importantly, what would that feel like? And spend some time on the other side of that door, because that's what's going to allow you to be brave enough to now, as we move into courage here with the next principle, to start the new chapter towards manifesting that for yourself. Okay, so now I'm going to use a Power of Surrender card here for the concept of courage. And this is where we get to really stand in our power to take action. We courageously make the decision to take actions on our own behalf. And for you this month, this is about courageously standing in a place to start to take action towards your own heaven, your own ultimate emotional fulfillment. Now we have two beautiful cards. So we have surrender to effortlessness. It says stop pushing so hard. The art of living means going with the flow instead of trying to force the river. And then we have surrender to creativity. Let your imagination soar. Stay open to all creative ideas about how to pursue a dream or solve a problem. Beautiful. So this month, when we're thinking about taking action and having the courage to recognize what your guiding star is, to recognize what your idea of ultimate emotional fulfillment would feel like, and understanding that you are more than just enough. You are so much more than that. But as you are reflecting on what this idea of happiness and healing and ultimate fulfillment feels like for you, to take action this month means to almost release, take a step back. Because what I'm seeing here with surrender to effortlessness and with surrender to creativity, there's this quality here of sometimes when we are pushing so hard, or we are so focused on even just keeping the status quo, and we are going through the motions, but we are not engaged because we're coming from this kind of stagnant place of fear of I don't want to rock the boat, or fear of what if I really am not worth more than what somebody else is placing a value on me now. That we can really start to either push too hard to maybe change that, or we start to just put too much energy into maintaining or proving. And it's a hard concept for me to verbalize, but maintaining is when we deep within ourselves know that what we're maintaining is not worth the effort we're putting into it, but yet we are spending all of our time. And often what happens when we're in this place is we get out of sync with flow, and we end up almost moving up too much into the mind and away from our heart center and our emotional core, and move into the mind where we're constantly stressing and thinking about some aspect of the status quo that we're maintaining that we feel is actually out of our control or not worth our effort. Now, what can this look like? This can look like maybe you guys are having money issues. And so maybe you are, just to maintain the status quo, working your butt off in a job that is not providing you with enough money. But in reality, maybe you have another partner involved in this scenario, and your partner is maybe not, in your mind, also pulling their weight. They could be bringing in more themselves, or you feel that they could be working as hard as you, working the 60 hours a week instead of the 40. And all you do is think about money, think about money, think about money, think about your balance line. And no matter how hard you work, you just feel like you can't make that balance line move up. But this is where you also feel that you're kind of stagnant and trapped in that, but if I leave my job or I try to change something to be able to increase my balance line so that I'm not worrying about it and thinking about it and putting this off also on my on my partner as much as on myself, that it might have a negative impact instead of a positive impact. So I have to just keep maintaining. I have to keep working my 60 hours, getting more and more frustrated at myself, at the place I work at my partner for not having to work as much as I do, or the other side to that. So imagine the same scenario, but where you're trying to prove. meaning you're trying to prove to a workplace or to a boss or manager that you are worth more. So you keep putting in more effort, and you're worried constantly, will this other person or will this organization see my worth, see my worth, see my value, see my value? And yet what you don't realize is that that business or that boss, that may be all they can give you. That may be truly all you are worth, or all your efforts are worth to them and their organization. And so you trying to prove yourself over and over and over again is not going to change how you feel you are valued from them, the value you receive. So there's almost this quality here of realizing, just let things go. If you don't want to work the 60 hours, then cut back to the 40 hours you were originally signed up for, you originally signed on for, and see what happens. Or surrender to, when it says stop pushing so hard, there's this quality to moving forward that almost means we have to come to a standstill. We have to come to this place where where the scales are balanced before we can almost like slingshot forward. And that is where I feel you guys are coming to. There's almost this balancing quality of allowing things to kind of settle as you are thinking about what real happiness looks like for you, so that then as you're kind of surrendering to this going with the flow feeling of, okay, I'm going through my day-to-day motions, but I'm now more aware of what I want out of life, of what will bring me happiness, of what my guiding star is. Then you can start to take action towards unleashing your creativity. And that doesn't necessarily have to mean that you break out the box of paints and start painting, or pick up a sheet of music and start playing the piano again, or you name it. A lot of people attribute creativity to artistic creativity, but there's also this side to creativity that includes problem solving, that includes innovation, that includes finding alternative solutions and routes to achieving the same outcome. And that, I think, is what you're being called to, kind of almost in this element of surrendering to effortlessness instead of pushing so much, clearing your mind so that all of that worry and all the frustration and all of whatever you currently are fixating on, all of that like sediment sinks to the bottom. And what you're left with by the end of this month is a clear thought space. Just like as sediment sinks to the bottom of a murky glass of water, then the water above becomes clear. And it's almost like you need to do that to allow this is what I'm personally seeing right now, is the beam of light from spirit to come through and refract through your mind to highlight something creatively within you. Whether it is highlighting, almost like a spotlight or a ray of light, a new way forward, a new solution, a new workaround, or just allowing you to have that clear space to actually see, to see things clearly, to see what you're currently sitting with, so that when you do choose to move forward, it is clear and quick. And that if you do end up getting a communication that can help with pushing you forward to start this next chapter, you're ready to meet it. You know what your 10 of Cups feels like. You know what happiness means to you now. You know your star, and you're ready to follow it. So I know that was kind of a long way to get down to that, but as you're taking action this month, it's almost like taking non-action. It's allowing the sediment to settle. It's allowing all of the kind of chaos and the angst and the constant thinking and hyper focus on some aspect of your life that you've either been maintaining or proving, and allow that just to dissipate. And what's going to come in is a creative solution to getting you to helping you open this door to healing and happiness and starting this new cycle. All right, so now as a final card, we're going to engage with the concept of contemplation. And contemplation is where we really get the chance to engage with active reflection. What does that look like? That means that we are at any given time reflecting and aware of the consequences and reactions of the actions that we choose to take. And we take responsibility for understanding how we played a role in the consequences of our actions, so that then we can then become aware of how to either change our actions or continue to keep doing the same action if we got a beneficial consequence or reaction or result. So you have soulmates, number 41 breaking down to number 5. I love this card. I think it's adorable. The two little penguins kind of cuddling there. What I get from that for contemplation is to think. Now, I do feel that there is this, where there's this quality that's coming through here of shifting from being very physically focused to heart focused, to emotionally focused. That element of healing and happiness comes from having a healthy heart, a healthy heart space. Experiencing the emotion of happiness starts there. And with soulmates and all the little hearts that are coming in here, this I do feel is really speaking to love, to feeling that connection to another. And as you're taking action this month, to contemplate on if those actions are getting you closer to experiencing this type of bond, this type of emotional fulfillment, this type of love and support from maybe not even just another, but from the universe, from your experience. Because we're all meant to feel the same. We're all meant to feel loved and supported by not only others directly in our life, but by the divine. And I really feel like the message needs to be said here that you are supported. That's why you're being asked to step up into this highest vision and version of yourself. Because the divine loves you, and the divine wants you to experience the 10 of Cups. They want you to experience your guiding star, your hopes, your dreams, because the more that you do, the more you are elevating the collective experience along with yours. But I think to reflect as well as you're moving through this month, if there is any point where you feel alone, or you feel unsupported, or you feel like you're starting to doubt yourself and your efforts are not, you feel like your efforts are not being seen or rewarded, this is where you need to reflect on feeling into the feeling of being supported by the divine. The feeling of understanding that you've been gifted with something that is meant to bloom through understanding that you're the magician, not just a beginner, but you are now ready to start the next cycle as the master. And as you start to take steps forward, start to take a look and reflect on who is there to support you, who is there to make you feel like they are a soulmate. Soulmates don't have to just be a romantic partner. Soulmates come in friends. They come in the form of coworkers who put a good word in for you. They can come in the form of teachers who help guide the way. And that's really what I think the universe is kind of asking you to focus on this month, is as you're surrendering and clearing your mind space and getting ready to walk through that door, is now also looking at, are your actions reflecting your value in how you are now expecting others to value you? Because if you want to step into a place of value, step into a place of being a master in your own life, step into the place of where you understand you have the power to open the door to your own happiness, then you have to balance that with having others or holding others to recognizing that value, recognizing your value. And once you do that, once you understand your own value and you hold others to that value, that is when the door unlocks to this quick energy. All right, Libras, as always, you have such wonderful messages. I hope you have enjoyed this reading. I hope it's been helpful. And I hope you all have a wonderful month of November. And I will see you back here next month for future readings. Bye.